We've all asked ourselves at some point, who am I? It's a seemingly simple question, but the answer is anything but trivial. Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist, dedicated much of his life to unraveling the mysteries of the human mind, believing that the quest for true identity is one of life's greatest challenges. For Jung, discovering who we are requires courage, introspection, and most importantly, confronting parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore. Let's start with the concept of the persona, introduced by Jung. The persona is essentially the mask we wear to interact with the world. It's the socially acceptable version of ourselves, shaped by our experiences, upbringing, and desire to fit in. But have you ever stopped to wonder how much of your personality is truly authentic? Or is it just a response to others' expectations? Jung argued that while the persona is necessary for navigating society, it can become a barrier when we confuse this mask with our true essence. After all, who are we when no one is watching? Those quiet, solitary moments without an audience can offer valuable clues about our deeper identity. On the other hand, the ego, another fundamental component of the psyche, represents the conscious part of who we believe we are. It's through the ego that we make decisions and organize our lives. But here's the paradox. Both the persona and the ego are limited. They're fragments of a much broader identity that Jung called the self. For Jung, the self is the center and totality of the psyche, encompassing both the conscious and unconscious. It's the true essence of who we are, far beyond social conventions and the stories we tell ourselves. However, accessing the self isn't easy. It requires delving into the depths of the unconscious and facing the shadows within our psyche. And this brings us to one of Jung's most challenging concepts, individuation. This is the process of integrating all aspects of our personality, the light and the dark, on the path to a more complete understanding of ourselves. Individuation is, at its core, the journey to discover our true identity. One of the greatest obstacles to this discovery is our shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject or ignore because they're deemed unacceptable. The shadow might include traits like envy, anger, or weaknesses we'd rather not acknowledge. Jung believed that until we confront and integrate these shadow aspects, we remain fragmented and unable to access our true self. Why is it so hard to face our shadow? Because it requires vulnerability. Seeing what we've tried to hide from ourselves can be painful, but it's also liberating. Jung famously said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Discovering who you are, then, demands an honest and courageous inward gaze. It means recognizing that we are composed of both light and shadow, and that both are indispensable parts of our humanity. Another cornerstone of Jung's psychology is the concept of the collective unconscious. While the personal unconscious refers to the unique experiences of each individual, the collective unconscious is a kind of ancestral memory shared by all of humanity. It houses archetypes, universal patterns of behavior and thought. Archetypes, such as the sage, the hero, the lover, and the shadow, exist within us as primal forces influencing how we live and interact with the world. Recognizing these archetypes within ourselves can help us better understand our motivations, desires, and fears. For instance, you might notice a constant need for others' approval. This behavior could be tied to the orphan archetype, which craves belonging, or perhaps you feel an unstoppable urge to excel at everything you do, a manifestation of the hero archetype at work. Identifying these patterns can illuminate the unconscious forces shaping your identity. Dreams are one of the most powerful tools for exploring the unconscious. Jung believed that dreams are symbolic messages from the unconscious, attempting to communicate something vital to the conscious mind. For him, deciphering the symbols in dreams is like assembling pieces of a puzzle that reveal who we truly are. For example, dreaming of a house might symbolize your psyche, with each room representing a different part of yourself. A dusty attic might signify repressed memories or untapped potential. Dreaming of water could symbolize deep emotions or the unconscious itself. Paying attention to your dreams and journaling what they reveal is a fundamental practice for anyone seeking self-understanding. It's important to remember that symbols are personal and their interpretation should consider the context of your life. Discovering who you are can also be understood as a hero's journey, a concept inspired by both Jungian psychology and universal mythology. This journey is marked by challenges, losses, and discoveries, but it always holds the promise of transformation. At the start, you might feel stuck in a routine that doesn't reflect your true self. This is the call to adventure, a summons to explore the unknown, confront your fears, and grow as a person. The path is filled with trials, facing your shadow, shedding your persona, and accepting your imperfections. But as you navigate these stages, you begin to access the self and live in greater alignment with your true essence. The inner hero's journey, then, is a metaphor for the process of individuation. One of the greatest challenges in discovering who you are lies in the conflict between being authentic and meeting external expectations. We live in a world that often prioritizes conformity and superficiality, making it difficult to express our true essence. However, Jung believed that authenticity is essential for a fulfilling life. This doesn't mean rejecting all social conventions, but rather learning to balance what the world expects of you with what you genuinely desire. Achieving this balance requires deep reflection, therapy, or spiritual practices that foster self-awareness. Ultimately, the quest for true identity is a lifelong process. It doesn't happen in a single moment of epiphany, but through small daily decisions, saying yes to what resonates with your soul and no to what stifles it. Jung also emphasized that intuition is one of the mind's essential functions. While logic and analysis help us navigate the external world, intuition connects us to our inner world and the unconscious. Yet we often ignore these gut feelings because we live in a society that values the rationale above all else. To discover who you truly are, it's crucial to learn how to listen to this inner voice. Intuition can manifest in many ways: an inexplicable discomfort in certain situations, a sense of rightness or wrongness without clear justification, or sudden insights that seem to appear out of nowhere. These are signals from the unconscious, guiding you toward what is authentic. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, or journaling can strengthen your connection to your intuition. In moments of stillness, you can better hear yourself and distinguish between external influences and genuine desires. Why do so many people avoid the journey of self-discovery? Because it can be terrifying. Jung understood that facing your shadow and exploring the unknown within yourself means confronting deep fears and resistance. This resistance often shows up as excuses to avoid self-reflection. I don't have time to think about this. It won't change anything. Or even, I'm afraid of what I'll find. These thoughts are natural defenses of the psyche, meant to protect you from discomfort. Yet ignoring this journey can lead to stagnation, dissatisfaction, and, in more extreme cases, a profound sense of disconnection from yourself. Jung believed that the initial discomfort of self-discovery is a small price to pay for the freedom and authenticity it brings. While the journey of discovering who you are is ultimately an individual one, relationships play a crucial role along the way. Jung observed that others act as mirrors, reflecting parts of ourselves we might not yet see. For instance, if you deeply admire someone, it could indicate qualities within yourself that you have but haven't fully recognized. Similarly, if someone triggers intense negative reactions in you, it might point to aspects of your shadow that you reject or fear. Relationships also challenge you to be vulnerable and authentic, essential components of individuation. They serve as a space for growth where you can learn about your limitations, strengths, and what truly matters to you. In the end, discovering who you truly are isn't about becoming something entirely new, but about integrating all parts of yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, light, and shadow, into a cohesive whole. This integration doesn't happen overnight. It's an ongoing process with ups and downs. Sometimes you'll feel like you're making progress. Other times it may seem like you're backtracking. That's all part of the journey. For Jung, the ultimate goal is balance. It's not about eliminating the shadow, but recognizing it and learning to work with it. It's not about discarding the persona, but using it consciously and flexibly. It's not about achieving perfection, but about living an authentic and meaningful life. The quest to discover who you are is not something to be delegated or postponed. It demands effort, introspection, and a willingness to embrace both the beautiful and the uncomfortable within yourself. As Jung famously said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. So, here's your invitation. Start today. Listen to your dreams, confront your shadows, trust your intuition, and above all, have the courage to live as the unique and whole person you were born to be. Did this deep dive into Carl Jung's psychology and the journey to self-discovery resonate with you? If it sparked some reflection, don't forget to give this video a like. It really helps spread this message to more people. And don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for more content that inspires and transforms. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. What did you find most interesting or challenging about this topic? Drop a comment below. I'm excited to read and reply. And before you go, check out the videos on the end screen. There's more incredible content waiting for you. See you next time, and let's keep this journey going together.